little relaxed.
Casual Saturday.
Want to do a wrap
Afternoon,
up?
yeah. Another productive day for us here with the draft. We're able to add three defensive players, starting with Hooker first. Versatile defensive back who played, he's played nickel, he's played off the hash, he's played down in the box, played in the kicking game. He was set to return punts for them this year, so we'll put him back there and see what that looks like. Walker from Georgia, there in the fifth. Good length. He's not a really tall player, but he plays long. We think he's got value on all three downs. Good strength, good speed to power, can set the edge, has the lateral agility to work along the line of scrimmage. And then David Long there in the sixth, just a really, really productive player. Spent time with all three of these guys at the combine, at pro days, at private workouts. All of them play hard. All of them are passionate about football, and really excited about adding them to the team.
Did you get much in the way of people ringing you up quite a bit, trying to move back?
Yeah. So in there when we moved up for Amani, I think it was. We slid up a couple spots, and there was a team that was kind of in there that we thought might take him. So thought we needed to get ourselves in position. He was the highest graded player we had on the board at that time, and felt really good about adding him and the role that he's going to have on the team. And then had a couple of conversations there in the fifth round about teams wanting to kind of flop picks and maybe throw us a seventh. But at the end of the day, when DeAndre was still on the board, it just felt like he was a player that we had kind of targeted all along, and he just kept sitting there and was popping out to us and took him. So.
Why do you think that he? Yeah, why do you think that he left? I mean, a lot of people predicted him much earlier. Why do you think he was still available?
There's a lot of reasons. I don't know. He's a guy that we spent time with at the combine. We spent time with him at his pro day, and got really, really comfortable with him and what he would add to the team. I don't know what those reasons may be, but we like him as a football player. I know he's excited to get in here.
Mike, beyond special teams, you've got guys you like in the secondary. How do you find ways to use Amani?
Well, I think you start him out, ideally at safety and watch him develop. He was very versatile for Iowa. They run a lot of cover 4, split safety defense. They will play some cover 3, and he played a lot of different places. He was a nickel. They felt comfortable bringing him down in the box. He played, like John said, off the hash in their quarter scheme. So. This is a guy that can probably do a lot. We don't want to give him more than he can handle, but he did a great job here the day that he spent with us, and excited just to get him working.
John, you ended up going 4 of 6 on defense. Is that the way you kind of thought it would go going in?
Yeah, I don't know, Jim, that you really kind of have. You're going to go this pick offense, this pick defense, or you're going to do 3 and 3 or 5 and 1, whatever it may be. I think that I think our scouts and our coaches did a really good job through the meetings of us talking about players and ranking players. We stuck to the board, and we were able to come away with 6 guys, offensively, defensively, special teams. I really think we bolstered our football team this weekend.
How important is it, John, that this year, after we got 3 guys last year, you start to get the 6 guys, get guys who will stick, add to that depth?
No, that's a great point, Joe. By moving up last year, we gave up some depth, and we're still able to play pretty good football. But we really weren't in a position to do a whole lot of trading up. I didn't feel like going into the draft and giving up at a minimum depth players, guys to work with on the team. And so we really tried to stay with, at a minimum, the number of picks that we came into the draft. That's why the flop made sense for us there. That way we really didn't give up a hard pick.
On that same note, how important is it for you to get what looks like it's going to be 6 very affordable contracts for the next 4 years?
Yeah, I don't think we really go into the draft looking at contracts and all that. But, we're just trying to get the best football players that can come in and help the team and guys that we think can contribute.
From a competition standpoint, you're bringing a new crop in, obviously. How do you want the vets in the building to react to the newcomers coming in?
I don't expect them to act any differently than they would every other day. We talk about, adding value, finding ways to add value every day to this football team, whether it's the general manager, the head coach, the coordinator, or the player. So, we talked on Thursday that the draft was here and everything that was going on around it, but at the end of the day, it's always a good reminder that this is a process to add new players to the team, and it's their job as players to not let those guys take their spot, and I think they all understand that.
Coach, when you look at a guy like Long, a bit undersized, but as a linebacker, like how do you go about feeling confident that he's going to be able to overcome that size perspective?
The guy's an instinctive football player. I mean, he loves football. He's proven to be a good special teams player. The size of linebackers has really diminished over the past, 10 years, and most recently, it's what's playing in college football. The more that offenses become spread out, the more that the college defenses recruit athletic, quick, smaller backs, and we're very comfortable with where we are with Jayon Brown and his development as a linebacker, and I would say that David probably fits similarly to Jayon's size, and as long as you give the player, enough tools in his toolbox to play with his skill set, and then try to develop some other things around it, I think that's always, something we're trying to do.
How much do you feel like these guys will, all three could be able to come in and bolster your coverage units on special teams?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Terry. I think those guys, that they've all played in the kicking game. They're all athletic players. I think they're all aggressive players. And I think that they'll all factor. That's the one thing that we do is we have our special teams coaches, evaluate those the linebackers, and because we want to know what their opinion is of the players, and how they think their skill set may translate to the kicking game at the NFL level. A lot of these guys, they haven't played, maybe since their freshman and sophomore year, so we dig back through those clips and try to find so that we can see what that looks like.
You still have, I guess, some unfinished business with undrafteds, and potentially address some other spots with veterans as you look post-draft?
Yeah, I mean, we'll try to get, we'll go get to 90 minutes here at some point, whether that's, today or once the draft is over and we get to the post-draft process, and we'll look at the veteran pool that's still out there too. I mean, we did that Friday or Thursday night, whenever that was, by Ad Urban. So I said it last night. I think that's part of my charge is to constantly look at the roster and constantly evaluate the players that are out there and see how they can factor in and create competition on this football team.
Mike, you like the rotation personnel you have now at the edge?
Do I like it? Yeah, I liked it before today, and I'll like it after today. It's it's something where the young guys that we have, I think, are going to learn a great deal from not only Coach Bowen, not only Shane, but Cam Wake, and develop. And those guys played a lot of football for us. They'll play more football for us next year. And, Cam will help us, and Kamale in his experience. And like John mentioned, the special teams value is really goes a long way in determining, where guys fit on the roster, and also where they are on Sunday, whether they're going to get a helmet or they may be inactive. So the special teams focus that we put on it is pretty high.
Does Walker like any of the guys you have?
No, he just like Walker. We'll just keep it at that.
I think you have drafted four guys who are college All-Americans. How much do you balance college production versus measurables, potential, that type of thing?
I don't know if All-American teams are voted by production or who's the best player. They're not really sure. There's 47 All-American teams, and I know that John and I, through the process, have never discussed one time postseason accolades. I don't think so, and so we're just going to try to watch the tape, meet with the guys, quiz them, teach them, try to build a profile on it. Excited about these guys. I feel like know a lot of these guys really, really well. To when they come in here, I think we're going to pick up some of the conversations that we've already had, some of the learning that our coaches have already given them, and I feel like they've, in some shape, have been a part of our program for more than just a few days.
Is there one characteristic when you look at the six that all of them seem to have? all of them for productive in college. I mean, and I know some of you want to get faster. Anything you were looking for in this draft that you feel like you got in all 6 of these guys?
I mean, I think they're all good football players. I mean, I think that's what we set out to do. We don't try to bring bad football players in here. At least that's not my goal. Sometimes that happens. That's happened in the past. But you set out and you have the meetings with the scouts and the coaches, and you talk through the strengths and the weaknesses of certain players. And I know the coaches are going to try to put the players in the best position to be successful. And that's the most important thing, is identifying the skill set, and then how the coaches are going to be able to hopefully improve that skill set, and then what role they're going to have on the football team.
You talked about wolves, John. Are these some wolves?
We got a few. Always looking for more.
Is Walker healthy? I know he had the sports hernia stuff that kept him out there for a while. Is he completely healthy at this point?
Yeah, he had his pro day. It was at the early April. Was moving around pretty good. I don't know where he's at, physically right now, but there wasn't anything in that workout that made us steer clear of drafting him.
John, how do you feel the defensive line group as it stands right now?
Pretty good. We got some guys that have played football here and played pretty good football here. And we've talked about Jeffrey, and I think that Coach Vrabel and Coach Pease do a great job with the different packages, whether it's our base package, whether it's our sub package, of putting guys in position to be successful. They take the pieces that we have on the football team and try to put them in an advantageous position. So I think all the guys that we have in that line of scrimmage, whether they're outside linebackers, maybe on early downs, and their defensive ends on passing or more sub downs, I think that like I said, Vrabes, Coach Pease, Coach Bowen, they do a good job of putting those guys in position to try to get a favorable matchup.
Michael, what's next for these guys? What's the first step when they come in the building here? When's the rookie camp, and then how do you kind of work these guys in?
I think that it's important that these guys come in condition. Our guys have, been training in the off season to be ready for a football season. These guys have been training for combine tests and prep. And so sometimes when you go and work some of these guys out, they get a little more tired than other guys. And I know that our veterans are used to it. They probably won't have the same nervous energy that a lot of these guys will. And when that happens, they get, tired probably a lot quicker. So, we'll give them a lot when they get here for when it's just the rookies. And then I think that we have a great program of implementing them into our system. One thing they'll do is they'll lift earlier than the linemen, the rest of the team will. So Frank and his staff in there will just have the rookies so that they can teach, proper technique or what we may be doing, what would have been different for what they did in college, which is then going to allow more meeting time when the vets go to lift that our coaches can have with just the rookies. And so I think right away we're pretty conscious of how much we put them in with the veteran group for the meeting and just throw all that at them. And that's a waste of time, but we're going to try to give them a little bit with the veterans and then let the veterans go do some stuff, meet with the rookies, and then start them out on the field together as we finish phase 2 and then work our way into phase 3 with the OTAs.
When will they get here?
Mini camp will be, 14 days, 13 days, whatever that may be.
Mike, you always say that one of your favorite parts of this job is getting to work with the players. How much are you looking forward to getting these guys out here?
My favorite part of the job is winning, but then it is also working with players. It's been a while, I think, since we've had, some of the guys we have on our team. You get to a certain point, and I'll use, Roger Saffold. I don't know that if we're going to make Roger Saffold any better of a player. I really don't. God love Keith and Sully and Chandler and Arthur, all those guys on offense that will have a say in the offensive line and talk to them. But I just don't know if we're going to make him any better. He's a really good player, and we're excited to have him. So now it's about maintaining his level of play and his conditioning, which he's doing. But some of these young guys that come in, there's a lot to work with. You can take a guy and you can kind of mold him into the player that the vision that we have for him.
John, what's the one thing that you want Titans fans to take away from what you guys were able to do here this weekend?
That there was a lot of work and a lot of effort by the coaches, by the scouts on these 6 guys, and once the draft finishes, we're going to do the same thing with the post-draft process, and last year we had some success with that, and we're going to try to do that again. And I think we're a better football team today than we were when we started this thing off on Thursday night. And we got a bunch of guys that, when I talk to them on the phone, that they're extremely appreciative for the opportunity, and that they're hungry to get to Nashville and get to Nissan Stadium.
I know you're busy in the war room, but what did you see from the city of Nashville as this draft played out?
Outstanding.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Every time they scanned Broadway, the fans, the crowd. Part of the reason why I'm wearing this hat, because I think there's a respect factor that comes with this city and this state now, because we lived up to the hype.
Mike, how cool is it to just have Christian Abercrombie in the building yesterday, see how far he's come, and then see him make the pick today?
Well, that was cool to be able to have him, obviously visit us. I'm looking forward to having him come back when our players are here, just to be around him. I mean, he's a person and a young man that loves football and had football taken away from him, and he showed up knowing that there were going to be 254 players selected to continue to play football, and he came in the building with a huge smile and a joy for life, and appreciates the position that he's in. So I'm extremely grateful that he's become a friend. It's fun to watch film with him. It's fun to talk football. He enjoyed the visit, so did I, and hopefully he can come back when our players are here and he can sit in meetings and watch film with them and continue to help us. And my goal is that he can find a profession in football at any level that he loves.
Did you guys realize he actually played youth football with Walter? Did you know about that coincidence or find out about it after the fact? It's kind of.
It's pretty cool. I heard it after the fact, but yeah, that's really cool.
John, you said you're a better team now than you were Thursday. Where do you think y'all have improved the most these last few days? Where have you seen yourselves get better?
We've got some guys that I think can come in here and help us, continue to win football games. We took 2 offensive players and 4 defensive players, and they're going to create competition and hopefully go out there and make plays that allow us to have more points than the other team.
Thanks.
Back to the lab.
Thanks, boys and girls.